Society tells us power is loud. We picture the CEO, the politician at the podium, or the billionaire signing contracts. Many people spend their lives chasing these visible markers. They accumulate money, status, and recognition, assuming these external metrics will grant them influence over their environment. This diagram shows two identical data clusters representing a pitch. If pure facts won, the smartest strategy would always succeed. Yet two people can present the exact same idea, and only one will inspire the room to take action. While the data remained identical, the influence behind the presentation shifted the room's response. Many of us walk onto the chessboard without knowing the actual rules. We assume that our daily interactions with clients, friends, and strangers are won through pure logic. Success in high-stakes environments often stems from navigating these invisible systems of human behavior. When an untalented person consistently wins, they are likely reading human behavior with more precision than their highly talented peers. This model represents human decisions. While we imagine ourselves as rational, reality is driven by internal desires. People quietly guard their interests, seek recognition, and desperately avoid embarrassment. Therefore, we almost always make choices emotionally first, only later building logical arguments to justify them. To shape an outcome, you must address that emotional core directly, as facts alone rarely move people to action. Mastering this sequence provides the clarity needed to lead effectively and resolve conflict before it begins. Many believe they must constantly talk, explain, and advertise their capabilities to prove their value to the room. Highly influential people often speak less. They use silence as a tool to intentionally create space in a conversation. This empty space allows them to observe hidden insecurities, spot missing details, and respond thoughtfully instead of reacting on impulse. Beyond silence, your reputation physically enters the room and begins shaping the expectations of others before you ever open your mouth. While fear might create temporary obedience, lasting loyalty is built on respect and calm consistency. Reputation operates on slow mouth, earned through a quiet accumulation of kept promises and honest decisions over time. Strategic silence and a protected reputation do the heavy lifting of a negotiation before the conversation begins. Utilizing silence and maintaining a reputation both require a specific type of internal discipline. True influence originates from the mastery of one's own impulses and emotions, which then shapes the behavior of others. Relinquishing control of your own emotions creates a vulnerability that others can eventually use to control you. Mastering these quiet mechanics of human behavior and maintaining self-control allows lasting power to develop as a natural result of your actions. When you're insulted, frustrated, or face a sudden setback, the immediate instinct is to fire back. In that split second, reacting feels honest, even satisfying. But prioritizing that brief emotional release is the fastest way to surrender your influence. Power is rarely found in your first reaction. It is found in your second decision. Think of your mind like a calm lake. Throw a heavy stone into that water and everything instantly warps. Those ripples create mental waves that distort your judgment in real time. You can no longer clearly see the reality beneath the surface. This distortion makes small problems look enormous. It turns temporary setbacks into permanent mistakes because you are reacting to the ripples, not the reality. This creates a severe vulnerability. If someone can provoke your emotions and trigger those ripples, they can quietly control your decisions. The solution to this emotional trap is the second decision, the choice made after the initial spike of feeling has settled. On this timeline of a conflict, notice the initial spike of impulse. True influence is never located here. Influential people look for what follows. They actively slow down, leaning into the pause. This creates psychological distance, opening multiple pathways invisible during the first reaction. By expanding that space, you replace chaotic reflex with calculated action. You choose the outcome rather than letting the event choose it for you. This discipline extends beyond individual moments to your daily habits. Every day, you operate with a strictly limited amount of attention. A common error is believing that every argument, every single criticism, or minor slight requires a response. A general who attacks every enemy they see will exhaust their resources before they ever reach the main objective. The same is true for your energy. This is exactly why over-explaining often backfires. When someone rushes to defend themselves because they fear being misunderstood, they often project weakness rather than clarity. Quiet confidence stays focused on what matters. Remaining silent or walking away from a trivial conflict protects your energy for truly meaningful goals. These daily choices build into an invisible force that dictates the boundaries of your relationships: perception. People don't respond to objective reality. They respond to the reality they believe exists. A first impression acts like a tint that colors every interaction that follows it. Consistently choosing the second decision builds a reputation over time. Reliability creates trust, preparation creates confidence, and humility creates respect. While modern life rewards the speed of instant replies and opinions, the greatest leverage belongs to those willing to wait. This patience is an intentional strategy. While others exhaust themselves chasing every small opportunity, the patient person prepares for the right one. Power is built through awareness, not aggression. It accumulates for those who realize that mastering any external situation begins with the complete mastery of oneself. Welcome to today's Explainer. We are going to completely demystify the quiet mechanics of true power and influence. If you're the kind of person who values structured, efficient learning, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to pull apart how deep, lasting influence is actually built. And as you'll see, it is far, far away from those loud, chaotic tactics we're so used to seeing every day. Okay, let's jump right in with a quick thought experiment. I want you to imagine two people standing in front of a team. They both possess the exact same brilliant, totally game-changing idea. Now, the brilliant idea didn't change at all here. Literally only the timing did. Person one rushes in and pitches their concept when everyone is distracted and stressed out. And the result? Nobody listens. But person two, they wait, they carefully observe, they read the room's temperature, and only then do they speak up. And because of that single, calculated delay, they completely capture the entire room's attention. Which brings us to section 1, the quiet power of timing, the invisible foundation of influence. There's this fundamental truth about influence. The right action at the wrong moment often produces the wrong result. It's so true, right? History is just overflowing with incredibly talented people who failed simply because they acted way too early or they hesitated and acted too late. Truly powerful people never, ever let their eagerness override their strategy. So instead of just forcing outcomes, highly strategic individuals follow a very deliberate process to build momentum. First, they prepare tirelessly behind the scenes. Then, they watch the landscape and the key players involved. And finally, they wait. They don't just push randomly. They patiently wait for that exact, perfect moment when the door unlocks. And that perfectly illustrates what patience actually is. It's not this passive state where you just sit around twiddling your thumbs, hoping for the best. It's a highly active, totally strategic mindset. It's like an experienced surfer. You don't waste your precious energy trying to control the massive ocean. You study the waves and you move with perfect timing. Life rewards that exact same mindset. All right, moving to section 2, emotional stability as anchor, remaining steady in the storm. You know, a leader's emotional state completely dictates the reaction of everyone around them. Think about a captain steering a ship through a massive storm. If the captain panics, the crew panics. They focus entirely on fear. But if the captain remains calm and steady, the crew absorbs that energy immediately. They stop worrying about the danger and start focusing on solutions. Strong leaders feel the exact same emotions as everyone else, for sure, but they never let those emotions become the steering wheel. And there's actually a very direct, step-by-step logic connecting your internal stability to your outward ability to lead. Calmness isn't just about feeling good on the inside, it actively creates confidence in the room. That confidence naturally builds trust, and trust is the absolute bedrock of real influence. People don't just follow decisions, they follow certainty. Let's look at section 3, the scarcity of words. Why limiting your energy increases your value. I want you to break the fourth wall with me for a second and just honestly reflect. Think about the communication style of the mentors you look up to the most. You know, that one person in your career or your personal life whose advice you just naturally, implicitly respect. Got them in your head? I bet you'll notice they share a few very specific traits. They don't interrupt people, they don't feel this burning need to constantly prove they're right in every minor interaction, and they never ever speak simply to fill awkward silence. Their words carry immense weight precisely because they are used so carefully. They're deliberately choosing not to win every single argument so they can build untouchable, long-term credibility instead. It all comes down to the principle of scarcity. When every opinion becomes public, every opinion becomes ordinary. If you broadcast every single thought that pops into your head, your words instantly lose their premium value. Intentional silence, on the other hand, actually makes people lean in and listen to you much more closely. Section 4, attention versus true influence. Never confuse visibility with power. We live in an era where amateur leaders constantly fall into a massive trap. They confuse loud, performative attention with genuine power. Attention is just about chasing followers, seeking applause, needing constant recognition, and it vanishes the absolute second the spotlight shifts. True influence, though, that cannot be purchased. It's when people deeply trust your judgment and fiercely defend your reputation, even when you aren't in the room. Influence is fundamentally earned through predictability. Think about it. People rarely remember every single word you say, but they absolutely remember how consistently you behaved. Decision after decision, promise after promise. That level of reliability becomes one of your greatest, most unshakable strengths. And that brings us to section 5, the strength of humility. Why you really shouldn't be the smartest person in the room. Constantly trying to prove your intelligence, that just creates distance and resentment. But inviting collaboration creates an environment where the absolute best answers naturally emerge. Great leaders ask thoughtful questions instead of just giving all the answers. They actively invite new ideas, they make others feel deeply valued, and crucially, they have the profound confidence required to say, hey, I was wrong, admit their mistakes, and actually learn from them. By stepping back and utilizing genuine humility, you're empowering others. It really boils down to this fundamental law of human nature. People support what they help create. Leadership isn't about collecting all the answers for yourself. It's about making space for others to contribute. Genuine confidence rarely ever needs to announce itself. So, as we pull all these pieces together, we can clearly see that power is never built through domination. It's built through cultivating deep trust over time. It's built through relentless emotional self-control, mastering the quiet strategic art of timing, and stepping back to bring out the very best in the people around you. But there is a massive warning label attached to all of this. Even the most beautifully timed and emotionally stable influence is completely doomed if it lacks a moral foundation. Because power without character eventually destroys itself. You can master timing, you can master your emotions, and you can master your words. But keeping your values intact while gaining success, that is the final and without a doubt the most important test of all. So, to wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to consider as you navigate your own journey towards strategic influence. If your true influence outlasts your physical presence in the room, what kind of character are you building today? All right, welcome back, Focus learners, to another explainer. We're jumping straight in today because we have a fascinating text to unpack. We are breaking down some incredibly profound insights on what it truly takes to sustain your character when the heat is turned all the way up. We're going to deconstruct the illusion of gaining power to reveal the actual ultimate test, how a sovereign mind survives 100% pressure. Let's get right into it. So let me ask you a question. What is the greatest test of power? Well, most people immediately think the hardest part is just getting it, right? We assume the climb, the late nights, the grueling battle to the top, we think that is the ultimate crucible. But the text we're exploring today completely flips that assumption on its head. The actual, invisible test doesn't happen when you have zero influence. No, the true test hits the very second after you've finally gained it. Okay, let's dive into this. Look, anyone can achieve a momentary spike of success. You know, you can get lucky, you can grind it out for a season, or you can just force your way into a position of authority. But temporary success, it's incredibly fragile. Our goal in this explainer is to map out the exact journey from that fleeting moment of victory to actual, lasting influence. And the stakes here are absolutely massive,
Because success, by its very nature, fundamentally alters the entire ecosystem around you.
Which brings us to Section 1, the echo chamber trap. We really need to look at the invisible mistakes that sneak up on you the literal second you think you've finally made it. Think about it. At first, success feels amazing. Compliments start rolling in all the time, and opportunities just seem to multiply out of nowhere. Suddenly, you notice people are agreeing with your ideas a whole lot more often. And hey, it feels incredibly validating. But then, it becomes incredibly dangerous. Because when no one is pushing back, when no one dares to challenge your thinking, your judgment fundamentally weakens. I mean, history is absolutely littered with extremely talented leaders who weren't defeated by stronger opponents. They were defeated by their own absolute certainty. And that dynamic, that is exactly what creates the echo chamber. It's this incredibly dangerous environment where you simply stop asking questions, you stop listening, and you stop learning. Without honest, unfiltered feedback to protect you from those invisible mistakes, small errors quietly compound into major catastrophic failures. This is exactly why the strongest leaders actively, almost ruthlessly, avoid this trap. They purposefully surround themselves with people who are willing to tell them the necessary truth, not just what's comfortable to hear. Now, what's really interesting about this is the tension it highlights between confidence and curiosity. We so often think of confidence as the ultimate be-all and end-all leadership trait, right? But confidence should never, ever replace curiosity. The text emphasizes that the more influence you gain, the more absolutely crucial humility becomes. Humility doesn't make you weak, it keeps you teachable. And the teachable people are the ones who just keep growing, long after everyone else assumes they've already peaked. Moving right along to Section 2, Surviving 100% Pressure. This is all about how you actually survive the heat once you're in the kitchen. The core truth we need to internalize is this. Real influence begins with controlling yourself. There is this massive, pervasive misunderstanding out there that power is all about controlling other people, forcing them to do what you want. But true strength, it's entirely internal. Let's be honest. Anyone can appear confident and totally in charge when life is easy and the sun is shining. But real influence is dictated entirely by how you manage yourself when the environment turns actively hostile. I absolutely love this quote from our source text. Pressure doesn't create character, it reveals it. Think of an ancient, massive oak tree during a severe storm. Its strength isn't measured on a calm, sunny Tuesday afternoon, no way. Its true structural integrity is only really measured when powerful, violent winds are actively trying to snap it in half. Well, people are exactly the same. Every high-pressure challenge isn't just a roadblock. It's an opportunity to discover who you really are when all the safety nets are suddenly pulled away. So let's put that character to the test right now. When someone directly attacks your ego, when they insult you right to your face, or even worse, behind your back, do you react with immediate fiery anger? Or do you possess the sovereign mind to just stay perfectly, unshakably calm? How about this one? Can you remain patient when progress is painfully, agonizingly slow, when the results just aren't matching the immense effort you're putting in? Do you panic and impulsively change course? Or can you withstand that awful internal friction and the frustration of delayed success? And finally, can you keep your word when breaking it would be so much easier and frankly, a whole lot more profitable? Look, these specific, difficult, gut-wrenching moments, these are the crucibles. This is the exact forge where true character isn't just tested, it is forged, solidified, and revealed to everyone who's watching you. Let's transition to Section 3, Navigating Trust and Change. Here is the survival toolkit for weathering those massive storms we just talked about. And this brilliantly illustrates a stark difference in how leaders actually operate under pressure. You can use fear, which sure, creates compliance. People will do what you say simply because they're terrified of the consequences. But fear is a depreciating asset. It runs out quickly. Trust, on the other hand, creates true commitment. It is one of the very few assets that actually compounds over time. Every honest action strengthens it, while every single broken promise destroys it. When you build trust by treating people with genuine respect, regardless of their status, they cooperate willingly. And commitment, it will always outlast mere compliance, every single time. But hey, there's a tricky semantic trap here that catches a lot of people off guard. The massive difference between consistency and stubbornness. So many folks confuse the two. To survive intense pressure, your values, your core, fundamental principles, absolutely must remain rock solid and consistent. But your methods have to keep evolving. Actually, if you refuse to adapt your methods to a changing reality, you aren't being consistent, you're just being stubborn.
The source uses a really beautiful metaphor for this. Imagine a sailor crossing the ocean. The destination, that ultimate final goal, never changes. But the route? The route changes constantly. The wind shifts, the waves rise, the weather turns violent. If that sailor just stubbornly refuses to adjust the sails, the journey ends in total disaster. Life demands that exact same level of flexibility. You have to be willing to learn new skills, aggressively question your old assumptions, and prepare for change because the world is certainly never standing still.
All right, bringing us to section 4, boundaries and lasting legacy. This is all about ruthlessly protecting your energy. A sovereign mind requires supreme defense across 3 critical fronts. You absolutely must protect your time, your attention, and your purpose. The source notes something really profound here. Every unnecessary commitment actually steals focus from something deeply meaningful. Truly influential people understand that saying no isn't a rejection or an insult. It's a critical filter. Boundaries aren't these massive brick walls you build around yourself. They're just filters that allow in what actually supports your mission and quietly remove the noise that doesn't. Without these boundaries, even the most insanely talented person in the world will simply get crushed by the weight of the pressure and become completely overwhelmed. So the crucial point is this. As your influence grows, people actually stop listening to what you say and they start intensely watching what you do. Why? Because words only reveal your intentions, but your actions reveal your true priorities. When your actions and your words are perfectly, seamlessly aligned, your credibility becomes completely undeniable. You don't ever have to force people to follow you. They naturally follow who you have consistently shown yourself to be. And that leads us to our final parting thought today. Power isn't a destination, it's a profound, heavy responsibility. Ultimately, people are not going to remember how powerful or important you appeared to be. They will remember one thing. How did your influence change the lives of the people around you? That is the ultimate metric. That is exactly how you separate a fleeting, temporary success from a permanent, lasting legacy. I want you to really reflect on that as you navigate your own moments of pressure this week. Thank you so much for joining me for this Explainer Focused Learners, and I will see you next time. Okay, let's dive right into this explainer by immediately challenging a very old and honestly very outdated idea. When you hear the word power, what actually pops into your head? For a lot of us, we instantly think it's something reserved exclusively for kings or politicians or billionaire CEOs. We tend to view it as a fancy title you wear or some literal throne you sit on. But today, we are going to completely deconstruct that myth. We're going to look at the true architecture of lasting influence, figuring out exactly how leaders actually earn authentic trust. Because, as you'll see, the greatest form of power has absolutely nothing to do with controlling other people and everything to do with something much, much deeper. So here is a total paradigm shift. True power is not a position. It isn't a noun that you just magically acquire once you hit a certain pay grade or get a promotion. It is a verb. It's an active, daily process, a pattern of decisions repeated over time. If we really want to understand how leaders earn authentic trust, we have to stop staring at the corner office and start looking closely at the daily habits that actually shape a person's character. You see, this kind of influence is built long before any visible, flashy success ever arrives. It happens through the quiet, totally invisible choices we make every single day. Think about it. How do you respond under intense pressure? How do you treat people who absolutely cannot offer you a single thing in return? How do you protect your reputation when literally nobody is watching? And how do you remain patient when everyone else around you is rushing? Those invisible choices right there, they are the actual building blocks of trust. They are the foundation of your future influence. Which brings us to an absolutely crucial point, understanding the massive difference between authority and respect. So many people will spend years, sometimes decades, just chasing authority. They genuinely believe a better title will finally make people respect them, or a bigger paycheck will just automatically create influence. But the reality, authority is merely given. Someone can just hand it to you on a piece of paper. Respect, on the other hand, well, that must be earned. And you earn it through consistency and trust. History proves this time and time again. The strongest, most effective leaders focus way less on controlling people and much more on becoming someone actually worth following. Influence that's built on fear, like a dictator's grip, is incredibly fragile. It disappears the exact second that the threat of fear is gone. But influence built on trust, that can last for decades. Just think about iconic figures like Nelson Mandela. His influence definitely wasn't derived from fear.
It came from an unwavering, lifelong commitment to his core values. If our ultimate goal is to figure out how leaders earn authentic trust, ruling with an iron fist is literally the weakest strategy you could ever choose. Take a second right now and think, who had the greatest impact on your life? Really picture them in your mind. Maybe it was a favorite teacher, a mentor, a parent, or a coach. Now ask yourself, did they change your life because they aggressively demanded your obedience? No way, right? Chances are they influenced you simply because they lived their values. They didn't just lecture you on what to do, they showed you exactly who they were. And that creates this really fascinating chain reaction. In fact, this is the exact formula for how authentic trust is earned. When your actions consistently match up with your values, you create consistency. That consistency over time builds solid credibility. That credibility is what fosters deep trust. And ultimately, that trust is what creates lasting influence. That is the highest form of power, not forcing people to follow you, but deeply inspiring them to want to. All right, let's move into our next section, the traps, image and arrogance. So let's say you've built the influence, you've earned the trust. The journey's over, right? Well, not exactly. Even after success arrives, we have to navigate these massive pitfalls that can quickly destroy everything you've painstakingly built. The first one is becoming a prisoner of your own image. This happens when people start spending so much energy protecting how they look to the outside world that they completely stop growing on the inside. They get terrified of looking inexperienced, they absolutely refuse to admit mistakes, and they run away from difficult feedback. And ironically, the very image they're fighting so hard to protect becomes the exact reason they stagnate. Just think about the sheer power of saying these simple words. I was wrong, I need to learn, I can do better. Weak leaders think saying that will totally destroy their image. But strong leaders, they aren't afraid to use those words at all, because they understand a fundamental truth about human nature. Admitting fault doesn't reduce your credibility. Actually, scratch that. It strengthens it. Honesty builds trust vastly faster than the illusion of perfection ever could. If you want to know how leaders earn authentic trust, it literally starts with the vulnerability to say those 3 sentences. And you know, that honesty triggers something absolutely vital. It's the ripple effect. As your influence grows, every single decision you make creates a wave. The way you handle a conflict in the office literally teaches everyone around you how they should handle conflict. The way you respond to pressure gives everyone else in the room permission to do the exact same thing. Leadership is highly contagious. Whether you realize it or not, someone is always learning from your example. Because of that ripple effect, your private habits actually matter just as much as your public achievements. Character isn't built when the spotlight is on, it is built when no one is watching. Every single promise you keep to yourself strengthens your integrity, and every little shortcut you take quietly weakens it. Over time, that integrity becomes something people can instinctively feel long before you even open your mouth to speak. Now, the final trap is a silent killer that has ruined countless powerful people throughout history. The belief that you are somehow untouchable. It usually goes like this. Success quietly creates arrogance. That arrogance then creates severe blind spots. Those blind spots inevitably lead to really poor decisions, and those poor decisions slowly but surely destroy your entire legacy. So what's the fix? Well, the antidote is simple, but it requires an immense amount of humility. You must stay curious. You've got to keep learning. You have to actively invite honest feedback, even when it hurts, and constantly question your own assumptions. You really have to respect the hard fact that no one, and I mean no one, is bigger than reality. The wisest people never stop being students, because they know for a fact that the exact moment learning ends, decline immediately begins. Listen, if there is just one idea you take away from our explainer today, let it be this. Power without wisdom becomes incredibly dangerous, and wisdom without action, well, that changes nothing. But when you manage to combine wisdom with discipline, patience, integrity, and self-control, that is when you create something genuinely extraordinary. You create a life of lasting influence. We really need to stop equating power with manipulation and domination. The world definitely doesn't need more people obsessed with just appearing powerful. It desperately needs leaders whose true influence makes everyone else in the room stronger. We need people who lead with clarity, who act with courage, who speak with purpose, who listen with humility, and who remain totally steady when everything around them falls into uncertainty. So, bringing this all together, the crucial point is this. True power is not measured by how many people fear you. It is measured entirely by how many people trust you. And that authentic trust, it isn't a life hack. It's not a quick fix. It is earned one single decision at a time, one honest conversation at a time, one kept promise at a time. So let's stop asking, how can I become more powerful? It's just the wrong framework altogether. Instead, I want you to ask yourself this: how can I become the kind of person whose character naturally creates influence? Answering that question won't just change your career, it will change your relationships, your reputation, and your entire life. The greatest form of power has always been and will always be about mastering yourself. So take a hard look at your daily habits today. What is the architecture of your life actually building?